National Union of Electricity Employees have threatened to go on strike following the proposed sale of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN. Hello and welcome to Labour Lens. I am Sharon Ijason. On this week's edition of the program, we will be discussing about the power sector and how it affects you as a Nigerian. We will be right back. The Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria is calling on regulatory bodies in the sector to live up to their responsibilities. The union made the call at the 5th Quadrennial Delegates Conference at the Seamen and Water Transport branch of the union.
We work together to make this maritime nation a great one.
At the event, the President General of the Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria, Adewale Adeyonju, called on the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, to ensure Nigerian seafarers are at par with their counterparts across the world.
The Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria are employing them. The management of NIMASA to quickly put all machinery in motion. The issue of high cost of acquiring medical certificates, no enforcement of the Privatisation Act, lack of seafarer pool and that of the dock workers, no insurance of ICID to seafarers, lack of national shipping line. That one has to do with them because they are using our money to buy a helicopter for Navy and whatever, and they are using part of our resources to do that. Why don't you bring in back the lost glory of Niger Line and have acquired a very big vessels in the name of Nigeria National Shipping Line as it was in all those days.
Some of the challenges facing the seafarers are rising unemployment, lack of certified training institute of world-class standard for seamen, non-enforcement of Privatisation Act, lack of national shipping line, non-payment of pension to disengaged seafarers, amongst others.
For their understanding and maintaining industrial peace and harmony, despite the most provocative and frightening business activities in the world by the pandemic ravaging the world in the last couple of years. I am optimistic that we are at the end of the tunnel, which is bright, and business shall flourish for the development of our economy.
Newly elected officers for the union were sworn in after the delegates' conference, who expressed dissatisfaction with lack of proper regulation on manning agents by designated authorities in the country.
Seamen in this nation will be able to stand shoulder tall with their counterparts everywhere in the world. And that is our vision. Amen. That is our goal. And it shall be accomplished. There are a lot to say, but maybe as time goes on, we begin to spell out how we want to run with the vision. But the truth is, it is a new dawn. It is a new beginning.
Then the way I believe the song, yeah, the force on earth is weaker, and the feeble strength of one, for the union is our strong.
34 points. We are buying it at the rate of 500 in the beginning, but right now that 34 points, we are now buying it at the rate of 4,000 naira. Can you see the difference? So it's too high. So they have to work on it. If they can reduce it and help us to work on the level of the lights, it will be okay. And if they will even increase the NEPA bill, it's not supposed to be up to that extent. To look at the situation of the country is not the point where they are supposed to be increasing the lights. So they have to find a way to reduce it. Everything is just going up.
The PP meter, the way they are doing it, even though if you will subscribe for the PP meter, they will load it for us in the sense that we will not be able to use it to the month that we subscribe for. And the way they are doing the light, even though where we are living now, we do not have light like 3 months ago. Present now, the light is not okay. It's not okay.
Mine has been okay because it's not the current meter that we are using now. It's the old one. I got mine in the year 2012 here in K2. But a lot of my neighbors are using the new meter. They complain of the meter, the bill finishing so fast.
I believe that if with the help of the government, they can help us to make the tariff a little bit lesser for the masses to pay and help people that are doing business with the electricity by giving them lights. Because even when after paying the bills, you will never see the lights for like maybe weeks, or if they brought it in the night, before the morning they've taken it again. And it doesn't really make sense for people to work with.
The tariff is too high. Let the government, let them do something for us. Let us enjoy what we have in Nigeria.
On the Profile interview segment this week, I will be speaking with the General Secretary of the National Union of Electricity Employees, who also doubles as the Deputy President of the Nigerian Labour Congress. Comrade Ajaero spoke on the implication of the proposed sale of the transmission company of Nigeria. It's good to have you on the program.
Thank you very much.
Recently, there was this news about the proposed sale of the transmission company of Nigeria. As the General Secretary of the Workers' Union in the electricity sector, what would be your take on this development?
Well, we read about it on the pages of newspaper, and we responded on the pages of newspaper to them. To all intents and purposes, the issue of privatization or change in structure of any organization is not announced on the pages of newspaper, because it affects a lot of people. It affects workers, it affects labor, it affects Nigerians. So it's an issue that should have been discussed if there is need for it, and agreements reached, decisions reached, whether such should take place or not. But for them to go ahead and announce it on the pages of newspaper, we'll respond. We'll wait for their action and respond accordingly. So that is what you are seeing, because there's no justification. It's not based on any empirical evidence that the ones they have sold are performing. The BPE came out with a report sometime that of over 200 companies privatized, not up to 20 or so, are performing well, or are functioning, or even alive. So, and the current leaders, political leaders, are still hell-bent on selling more. So the ones they sold before in the power sector brought us to where we are today. It is synonymous to increase in tariff, and then the cost they are going to incur in selling the critical sector, subsector, the TCN, will double the tariff they are charging Nigerians. And it's not a guarantee that you get 24 hours power supply per day. So, and they are afraid of going into this debate. That's why they want everything to be shrouded in secrecy. That's the situation.
In 2013, the power sector was privatized. Ordinarily, according to the law, there is supposed to be a 5-year review for whatever sale which might have happened in between the process. So far, would you say that the government and the relevant stakeholders have been meeting up with this development? I am aware that there are some that have not renewed and are still running in the business. In a sane society, is this acceptable?
Well, apart from saying that it is not working, it's still shrouded in secrecy. You start to wonder who is in charge and who is the owner of these companies. If there was an agreement that there will be a review after 5 years, and after 5 years, the government refused to review, And the government seems to be working with the so-called investors in this, outright refusal to review. So it's like, apart from labor, no other person is talking. And then that's the situation. It's not working. They have refused to review it. Government is funding them. So how can you have a privatization and government is funding it? They are here to tell us the system in place. It's not privatization. I've checked all developmental economic books. I have not seen the system of handing over a public-owned utility company to private individuals and then giving them more money than when it was in the hands of the government. I'm finding it difficult to give it a name, but I think it's more or less a kind of prodigal economy. Prodigal economy. You sold your house for 10,000. The person that bought it, you gave him 100,000 for buying your house.
Okay, sir. You've just generalized the response of the stakeholders. Can you tell us any of the stakeholders that probably you've reached out to, or have they reached out to you, owing to the fact that the workers are also a major player in the power sector? So can you be specific? What has been the response or the level of engagement from these various stakeholders?
Well, ordinarily the supervising ministry is the Ministry of Power. Other agencies there should be subject to them. And then, but the Ministry of Power is not an engaging ministry. It's a ministry that the people are not known. You may hear the names of the functionaries, but you don't hear from them. They don't articulate policies and programs of the ministry, or even the government they represent. Ordinarily, every ministry should articulate the programs of the government that you are defending. And then it's not a question of hearsay, and it's not the duty of the union to call the ministry to say, come, let us meet. If government has a program through the Ministry of Power, they should be able to bring it up for discussion.
Engagement.
Well, the union will not go into the issue of telling us where the information is coming from. The union is interested first in the welfare of the workers, the welfare of Nigerians. And because as Nigerians and as a pan-Nigerian organization, the welfare and the interests of the country should be paramount to all of us. That is our position. But if somebody thinks that they can have a clique and sell what belongs to everybody, and then dispossess the workers of their earnings and whatever, the people can go ahead. It then means there will be a parallel line. They will be working on their own way, we'll be working on our own way. But if there's to be a change or any policy, of course you see, you can't even accuse the Buhari government of not discussing. No. When the issue of increase in fuel came, even all these issues, there have been committees, there have been meetings that they are meeting with labor. The issue of minimum wage, all that. But some ministries, I repeat, and I single out the Ministry of Power, for instance, I can't remember this union ever meeting with the Minister of Power. Never. And I don't know whether he has what to tell us. That's the irony of it. So everybody will be talking to the other, maybe based on press releases.
And how healthy is this to this sector?
Oh, how healthy is it to Nigerians? Not to the sector, because the whole essence of being the helmsman of any organization is to make it progressive, is to make it work, is to come out with programs and policies of that organization that everybody, even at within a second, will tell you that this is what they are standing for. But that's not where we are today. Everybody, even our press statement, NLC press statement, based on a report from that they read in Guardian, you can't be syndicating story. You send your press secretary, do this. We want to do this. And everybody will make a kind of input. it is debated, and then the best that comes out of it will be beneficial to the country. But if you think that, oh, you can just sell publicly owned institutions because you have all the powers, you go ahead. But those that it will affect will equally react because it will affect them.
There has been an habitual increase in electricity tariff in Nigeria. What's your take on this?
Well, the committee was not given any mandate to be going to periodic review of tariff. In most instances, the committee gets to know about it like every other individual. And that's the irony of it. The NAC still insists that it is their responsibility to increase the electricity tariff, notwithstanding the situation. And, the factors for them to increase it, they're already inbuilt. They say when there is the exchange rate increases, they increase. When there is devaluation of the currency, they increase. When there is inflation, they increase. And now you look at some of these economic indices and find out that if you increase tariff, it will generate inflation. So the same people that increase tariff will benefit from it because the next month they will go back to NAC to say there's inflation. Now, what is the cause of inflation? The increase in tariff. So they will still benefit from it. And when they benefit and there's another increase in tariff this month, the next month there will still be inflation. It will affect inflation, and they will still go. So nobody has bothered to find out, what leads to inflation. But you see people benefiting from it. And then the issue of the exchange rate, dollar to naira, is something that is extraneous. It's not under the control of any Nigerian at all. But the exchange rate can increase tomorrow because for a long time now it has been increasing. It's not going down. And then they will equally come and increase the tariff. The problem is the issue of docility of Nigerians. Nigerians are very docile. When you say they have come out to complain, after complaint, what? Tariff is being increased almost every day. They don't need anybody's permission. They do it with impunity. It's not based on any other consideration. They wake up and increase tariff. And Nigerians will complain in their houses. So Nigerians will continue to complain and continue to suffer. There's hardly any house where you have husband and wife and children that are not buying token of almost 30,000 a month. And that's the same amount for minimum.
And what's the minimum wage?
Yes, that's the minimum wage. So how do you relate this? How do you calculate inflation for somebody who is, earning 30,000 a month? So the problem will continue. I'm suspecting that it may get to a level that nobody can pay again. When it gets to the level that nobody can pay again, there will be stalemate. But until then, let us watch.
Recently, there was a press release by the union you represent indicating that there would be an imminent strike if this process continues. What would be the modalities if you actually have to go on strike? And would you say that you've had a robust conversation with the stakeholders? What is the engagement between the union and the relevant stakeholders? Has there been any opportunity for relevant stakeholders to sit on the table to have a discussion if there is even any need for this development?
Well, the statement is not shrouded with any ambiguity. It's a clear statement. And if you watch very well, the National Union of Electricity Employees is not given to frivolous threats. If we say we're going to do something, we're going to do it. We were just embarrassed. We woke up, to hear that they want to privatize transmission company of Nigeria. There's hardly any country that privatize their transmission company. You can sink this country through their transmission network, this wire that moves around. So it has a lot of security implication to any country, apart from that. And then you can't even value this, the number of poles. When we talk of transmission, Nigerians should know the number of poles that traversed the whole country, which many communities bought and put. You can't even value it, how it's moved. Secondly, Transmission Company of Nigeria is like a vehicle that conveys power, you know, from generation point to distribution point and to the consumers. You know, now people just woke up and say they want to buy it. When they buy it, the whole essence is to get a franchise. If they get the franchise, they will now be increasing the charge. Because as it is today under government control, you know, it is moderated, the charge they collect. Now if they increase the tariff, it will be turned to Nigerians. They have tried to prove that it will, when they privatize, to bring efficiency, which was a lie they told us last time. We have now seen that privatization does not bring efficiency, but it equally increases the profit of the private sector. It's a situation whereby, you know, public pen, you see public pen and you see private gain. You know, that's the whole essence of privatization. Now, when they privatize the Transmission Company of Nigeria, the situation will worse. It will be worse. Transmission Company of Nigeria, as at today, can convey about 8,000 megawatts. And the generating companies, they are not giving Nigerians more than 4,000 megawatts. Now, how is Transmission Company of Nigeria the problem? They have capacity to do it 11,000. There was a time we got it up to 11,000 because before it came back to around 8,000. But let me tell you this, all these things are based on suspicion all over. They went and, you know, contracted an agreement with Siemens to improve our, you know, transmission network to 7,000 megawatts. I'm saying it here without mincing words that on our own, independently, the transmission network has the capacity to convey 8,000 megawatts. So why are you awarding contract for them to, you know, work towards 7,000 megawatts? I'm saying it's wrong. They are not telling Nigerians the truth. You know, the same way they want to tell you that they want to privatize Transmission Company of Nigeria, no reason. I want to challenge all operators from their minister to the last person to come out on a live program so that we can tell Nigerians the essence of it. You don't even know the people running the sector today. Not even one of them. None of them can talk. You only hear a word. It appears that it is the Regulatory Commission now that is even running the sector. Let the Minister of Power come out. Let the Minister of State Power come out, you know, and tell Nigerians. Let us tell Nigerians the implication of, you know, privatizing the Transmission Company of Nigeria. People will hide, you know, and then be pushing out releases. This is not the era of somebody telling his press secretary to issue statements. This matter is so critical that we must come out and tell Nigerians the truth. And this country belongs to all of us. You know, we have to salvage it.
Thank you very much for your time. And that's all we can take on today's edition of the program. Join us next week for a fresh edition of the show. I am Sharon Ijason. Thanks for watching, and remember that labor creates wealth.